I hope you're having an amazing day. My name is Colin, and in this video we're going to have a look at the top 3 most profitable launchpads. Nothing in this video is financial advice, it is for entertainment purposes only. I am on CryptoRank right now. I have here an overview of the current ROIs of the launchpads being tracked. Note a little disclaimer that not all projects are being tracked. However, we have hundreds of projects lined up across multiple launchpads. The blue line here is the all-time average return on investment. That's not what we're going to look at. I want to look at the green one, which is the current ROI. As you can see, the all-time highs are a lot higher than the current ROI, but I want to know what it's worth right now. So the top 3 is actually quite close. I'm going to include in this video the top 5 fully to see what is the perfect balance between profitability and allocation. So we're going to have a look at Oxible Tech with 24 IDOs measured, gamifyorg with 38 IDOs measured, DAOmaker with 89 IDOs measured, Redkite Polka Foundry with 54 IDOs measured, and CD5 with 38 IDOs measured. Of course, what is important, the higher the data, as the law of big numbers goes in math, the more stable those results tend to be, specifically on the average current ROI. Any of these platforms are apparently giving amazing returns over time. So let's have a look, starting with Oxible Tech. So if we go to Oxible Tech and we can pull up their homepage, we're going to look at the projects, we're going to look at the allocation, the price, how much does it cost to participate, and hopefully get a better understanding of how profitable this is. Is it actually the number one, or does it come with a high opportunity cost? So there's a Reflect token. 2% of reflection fees are shared to all holders as part of the automatic yield generation. That is quite interesting. The ecosystem token, stake 8,000 Oxible token to gain access to pre-sales. So there is a requirement to stake. Governance token, be part of the development of Oxible Tech and build a better future. They have a white paper with all the information. We can have a quick glance. I'm primarily interested at the tiers that they have prepared. So the relative competitors that they're working with, they're listing basically some of the other platforms that we have a look at, but this is basically primarily about their own token, and I'm more looking for the tiers. But that's not a problem because I can just put Oxible Tech tiers, and there we go. Then you basically have an overview. Well, then we go back to this one. So basically on medium, here we go, participating in the IDOs. Right. They basically give you an explainer how that works, the different methods, how that goes, but we're looking for specifically the overview of the tiers. So when we go to Oxible Tech, they also have the coin market cap, right? Because we need to be able to find the actual price. So we will take the name, go to coin market cap, type in here Oxible Tech, and then you also have a Solana variation, but we're going for the main one. $2.46 has been in a quite downtrend, coming from about $6 obviously in the November-December period. According with the drop of Bitcoin, the Launchpad has moved down. Available currently through PancakeSwap primarily, trading at extremely low volume of 155K with about 17 million in market cap, one of the bigger Launchpads definitely. All right, so now the biggest question is, how can we get allocation? Is that clear? What are the tiers? What do they look like, right? So they do give you the explanation on how to participate in the pool, but I think we all know how to do that, right? So let's go back to the assets here, because they do explain the tiers apparently. So I'll just basically browse a document, type in tier, there we go. So they have a guaranteed slot for the IDO. So you need to stake, if you do one asset, 8,000 Oxible for 7 days, or you can provide liquidity, which is basically 4K Oxible against 4K BNB. 8K Oxible would basically go at the current price about $18,000, right, which is quite heavy. Pre-allocated time to be provided, all right. Then you have a tier 2, which is the whitelist slot for the IDO. Stakers 4K prior to the snapshot, 1 day before, 24 hours. Pre-sale participation are on a first come first serve basis. Okay, so this is guaranteed allocation, tier 1. Then you have your whitelist spot, which is first come first serve, which is only requiring 4K, which is a lot more affordable, where you're looking at about $9,000. And then you got the public sale rapid fire, pre-sale for public to be open, first come first serve after the allocated time for tier 1 and tier 2 ends. I mean, this is open at this point. Each tier shall be eligible for different contribution caps for pre-sale participation. Tier 1 shall have the highest contribution cap and tier 3 shall have the lowest. For example, tier 1 investors may be able to contribute a maximum of 10 BNB, while tier 3 investors will be limited to 2 BNB. IDO module subject to change, of course, when the platform grows. But this is from the actual Google latest up-to-date information. So we'll assume that this is correct, making it a little bit of a more expansive platform, right, relative to perhaps other platforms that we're going to look at today. When we look at their actual projects, so when we look at the Oxible projects, right, more than 30 projects launched, right, as they track 24 total, about 200% average all-time high, right, so the axis shown here is all-time high ROI, but they do raise quite some money, right, 350K, 750K, these are not small projects, they don't raise projects of like 50K, like really small ones, 300K, 165K, so basically the minimum that we're seeing here is about 100K, right? And there's quite some participants there. You can basically make the calculations about how much one participant would on average get, which is always, I mean, a good calculation to make in terms of the allocation. I always get the allocation on these the question about allocations on this video. How much allocation would I get? Well, you would have to join the Oxible group on Telegram or any of the other launchpads we discussed today and ask for an indication. However, it highly varies on how much you usually stake, right? Your pool weight relative to the amount to be raised. So one project, as per the white paper here, you might get 10 BNB for $1 million in raise, but if they're only going to raise 500K, you would get 5 BNB, right? Because your relative pool weight compared to the total amount of contributors, participants, compared to relative the total amount to be raised. Those are the three elements you have to take into consideration. So it's extremely unlikely that you can beforehand calculate things properly. You can only get an indication, right? But Oxible, basically the #1 most profitable launchpad according to CryptoRank. However, quite pricey to get into. The tier 1 sitting at about, well, below 15 and 20K depending on the price. The tier 2 at about 9K, and I assume that at that point most of it is sold out, and thereafter they will do a first come first serve, right? Then we have GameFi, which obviously we all know, I assume, being one of the more valued launchpads, right? 1.6 million in volume, fully diluted 1.4 billion, market cap of just under 100 million, but it has taken quite a downturn. So in, again, the November-December period was really hot for Launchpad. It raised the value of almost over $327, right? $328 at the all-time high. Really crazy. Right now, only 95. There is definitely an opportunity. It's listed on Gate, KuCoin, PancakeSwap. Average return on their projects, 1,215%. Really, really high, specifically because it's across 38 projects, right? Let's have a look. The website is gamifyorg. They have a launchpad, a marketplace, and they're now adding a metaverse option. And basically what they specialize in, it's in the name, it's a launchpad for games, right? The favorites, upcoming IGOs, initial game offerings, Kingdom Carnage, these ones right here. And what we're most interested in is, well, token metrics, not really. I'm more so focused, yeah, this is basically how they raised money. We're looking for the gamified tiers, right? So it's very easy to Google gamify this, announcement, ranking system. All right. So they have different options, right? Is that all? Yeah, that's all. Snapshot time. Okay, I will read you the details. So they have the lottery pool, which I'm always looking for guaranteed, right? So 20 tokens, lottery, max individual allocation $60, withdraw delay 5 days, so you need to stake your token, no exclusive pools. Then you have 100 tokens, so 20 tokens is already $2,000, right? Then you were talking about about 100 tokens, which we're already talking $10,000, right? Then $50,000, and then an NFT card, top 12 is most staked in auction. Okay, and then you get guaranteed allocations. It's always lottery, which makes it, for me, not that interesting. So although it's one of the more profitable launch pads, I don't like to play lottery. I like to get guaranteed allocation. To get top 12 in the pool, you probably need to stake on this launch pad, I would assume, more than $1 million, right? There's a maximum individual allocation of 700, which still is really, really high, right? So even for 10K, you get really good individual allocation, maximum 300. I mean, that allocation is really good. I just personally don't like to play lottery. So 1, 2, 3, they're all lottery. You have your individual allocations here, and there's withdraw delay time from the staking pool, and there's no exclusive pools. If you are in the top 12 with the most tokens staked, you get guaranteed allocation, 20% of the pool, and you have a withdrawal delay of 30 days. You get access to exclusive pools, but it's only for the top 12 players. It would be great if we could see the staking option, but I'm afraid I can't because I don't have any gamify. So they have a lot of opportunities coming up, right? They have a lot of projects. They have a lot of partnership with everything done before. They track their performance, which is really nice. They have some mystery boxes as well. Staking. Oh, here we go. So the staking. All right. So the top wallet, right, is at 4,000 tokens at $100 each, right? Then we would, yeah, bring it at about $500,000, right? So $500,000, the top 12, and this is about 240K, right? So you might ask, like, how much money do these people have? Maybe they have that kind of money, but it could also be possible that they got in super early, got the token for like $20, and then when the wave went up, they obviously had that tremendous benefit of being so early, right? And that's what we often see with these launch pads. A lot of people want to join these launch pads once they've already accumulated huge growth, and their launch pads launching every single week. You just need to wait months, right? This one took basically, well, not even that long to be fair, but it took 2.5 months basically to reach proper traction. And there's Launchpad. Literally, if you subscribe to my channel, which you should do, you would be aware of all the new Launchpad that I cover, which you can take advantage of, right? So you might have that opportunity as well. But basically 2.5 million to about, sorry, I said that wrong. About 420K, $500,000 to about 230K. But that's still a very, very high amount. Obviously you get 20% of the pool, so it's definitely interesting. And you would get a legend NFT as a reward for that as well. Then the token sales that they have coming up, the community pools, the pool IGOs. So they follow the same structure as we see often. This is like their first come, first serve stuff. And we'll probably read that right here. So every $20 will stake at one lottery ticket, maximum individual into 60, withdraw, all right? Every $20 one lottery ticket is basically the same, right? Okay, so the legend, so this is all lottery stuff, which is quite basic. I think we can all understand this. Legend, only 12 slots. Gamify members need to own a Gamify legendary NFT to achieve this rank, okay? So how do we get this? The first generation of Gamify legendary NFT can only be obtained through auction. If the number of legends fall below 12, Gamify will continue to hold auctions for available slots. Have the right to apply whitelist and join IGO pools on Gamify Launchpad. Have the right to join exclusive pools only for Legends, subject to availability. Guaranteed IGO token allocation when registering to join the whitelist. The token allocation for Legends accounts for 20% of an IGO pool. So if a project would raise, let's say 150k, the IGO pool basically gets 30k out of the 150k, which is quite significant because you only have to split that with 12 people, which means everybody gets like 2.5k, right? The Legend Pool IGO token will be distributed to Legend members according to the amount of staked, from the highest to the lowest. According to the person in the highest tier will receive an additional 5% token allocation than the person in the place rise after. All right, there are quite some rules, yeah. The faction, if a legend unstakes, they will demote to pro rank with 30-day withdrawal period, no matter how much they unstaked. Once a month, Gamify will re-auction the Gamify legendary FTs of 2 legends currently ranked 11 and 12 in the pool. If they do not win the auction, they will be no-moded. Okay, so you definitely need to keep your stakings up. If multiple legends stake the same amount, the legend who fully staked his total first high position in the pool. All right, example of the legends pool, they make like a calculation. Yeah, so the first legend gets the biggest benefit and the 12 ones get the least benefit, right? It would be quite interesting to see what these NFTs tend to go for. If there's any information. If you go to Marketplace, I think they launch mystery boxes here. It's not really about their own NFTs, but that would definitely be a cool element to see. Maybe we can Google it, how much such an NFT would go for if there's like a bidding war. Because you need to have basically 250k in tokens and you still need to win the war to get this, right? Okay, so they will auction off. Is there a reply on how much it went for? Details, details on Telegram. Okay. No, it didn't say how much it went for, but definitely would be good to know. So in case that you're watching this and you know how much these NFTs go for, I would love to know. So please drop it down in the comments below. I'm afraid we don't have time to cover it right now, but it's definitely worth knowing in my case to see if this is interesting, because for most people it's out of reach, so probably I will not be interesting to cover it for 99% of y'all. When a pool ceases to accept whitelist registration, the Gamify system uses the snapshot method to determine each member ranking. Okay, snapshot. Whitelisted members must maintain a ranking equal or greater than one defined at the time of the snapshot. That makes sense. Following the snapshot, okay. Things to notice: to join an IDO pool, Gamify members must achieve at least rookie rank and complete KYC. Alright, so the KYC, I would assume that every single Launchpad utilizes KYC for all the US people and any other country on the blacklist. Unfortunately for you, you cannot participate in this business investment model, right? That's what I've seen most Launchpads do, KYC anyway. They're optional for community pools. Individual allocation will be determined following the total amount of tokens allocated to each pool. The withdrawal delay time is required to receive the tokens in your wallet after unstaking them from the pool. All right. The legendary NFT will start on September 16th. All right, so every month you have an opportunity there. Gamify actually quite clear. The Launchpad makes sense. It's basically lottery unless you're a big baller, which I mean, like, it's fair. It's just not a model that I would prefer, but it does make sense. And it does appear to be an extremely good Launchpad. So Gamify on number 2 in our top 3 most profitable Launchpad list. Next, we're going to DAOmaker. I've covered DAOmaker before. It's a little bit more of a complex platform. It does have a large amount of tracked IDOs with an amazing return of 1,112%, 0.04. With 89 launches tracked. It's just a little bit more than Polka Starter, who is less than half of the average current ROI. Right, so DAOmaker, really well. They work with staking, but you also need to get gas to allocate to projects. So it's a lot more complex, but I'll try to explain how that system works. How to participate in IDOs on DAOmaker. That's not even by their own website, but let me see if they explain it well. At the meantime, we can pull up their token. which is the DAO Maker token, which is right here, sitting at $3.95. High volume, 7.7 million. Fully diluted at 1.2 billion, 250k market cap. Basically being the biggest or one of the biggest launch pads. I think Polka Starter is a little bit bigger. Let me check real quick. But those two are definitely the biggest ones. Polka Starter, 190 million. So definitely DAO Maker being the biggest one at the moment. And that's good that we're covering it here. All-time low at $1.30. So it's still quite affordable. All-time high reaching at about $8.30. Right, so at the current pricing, it just had a recent drop. Obviously, Bitcoin is quite unstable, but it's heading into a super low at the moment. I have no clue why, but it did quite take the downfall today. All right, so basically, this is an explanation. The website is a little strange, but I assume that DAO Maker would have some information on the website as well on how to participate in the actual pools. All right, so this is a summary on how it would work. So yeah, that's all good. They have quite a clean website as well. They have the token value of about 355 million, circulating supply locked 61.9%, really high. You can earn up to 70% APR on staking DAO and by joining their weekly offerings. 456 days locked on average, which is extremely long, right? So people are really enjoying the launches on this platform and it appears to be working quite well. They have many launches coming up, right? Coming soon. Being one of the biggest launch pads, it definitely makes sense. Their raising amounts are quite big on these, but they vary highly. So this is public. This is probably private, 750k each, 100k here, Phantom Maker, 95k, 150k. Still lottery based, so 200 per ticket. When you do win the lottery, apparently, this is 500 per ticket, that's really nice. 100 per ticket. When you do win the lottery, you get some good allocation, right? It's not like $12 or anything, you do get some high allocation. So definitely they track the all-time highs as well, but it does look quite promising, right? The reason I'm not on this platform myself is because of how their system works. In order to participate in the IDOs, users are required to stake their DAO token. Deposit DAO token to the staking contract also provides venture yield rewards. The size of the reward depends on the staking period. Longer staking pays better. However, users are required to pay 50% of their earned rewards when unstaking before so there's a 50% penalty, right? 180 days venture your rewards, your yearly rewards, okay? So if I would stake, let's make a calculation, $4, probably 2,500, so we put in $10,000, right? 2,000, it's 2,000 or 4,000, so 2,000. I want to stake it for 30 days. I gain almost nothing. And what is this? Okay, so yeah, how many IDOs you would, they call it shows. I don't know what the shortcut is for that, but how many you would participate in, total funds raised. Okay, 150, price is $3. Average ROI, let's say, well, we know it's a 10x because that's what the thing says, right? This is quite cool. It's 11x actually. It's cool that they built this. Make like an estimation. So I would participate, yeah, let's leave it on 36. I think they will do the average. The average raise is probably 150k. That's like pretty normal. So your yearly rewards, 3,000, just of the yield, okay? I don't know what that means. It's a little confusing, but this looks fine. I just wanna see the tiers. Okay, unstaking fees, that makes sense. We all understand how the unstaking yields work, right? Okay, so if I would do 2,500 and I would do 30 days, what's the maximum? Ah, damn, you get a bonus as well. APR 41%, really low, and you have to stake it for like fucking 3 years. So you would have to work with bigger numbers, right? So this is 10K already. So let's say we would work with, well, 100K, right? So it's 25, right? APR still 41, right? Even we do 90 days, for example, it's really low. So the APR gain is almost nothing, right? 5% over basically 100K, you earn 1K is literally almost nothing, right? Max allocation 16, all right. Okay, if each allocation provides 200 and the user maximum allocation is 3, then the user cannot win more than 600, okay? Estimated winning chance, all right, that's quite cool. So the total DAO power is calculated based on your total token state and provide liquidity, all right? Your tier, user participate in tiers, being in a higher tier offers higher allocation and winning chances. You already have staked DAO. Trench will consider your past deposits as well, all right? Estimated winning chance, okay, so basically on the tokens, that makes sense. Okay, is this the FAQ? Yeah, it just puts you here, but I want this basically in text format. I want to know the allocations. What are the shoe requirements? Okay, here we go. Tier requirements. So they require you to stake. I can explain it, but I would want to have the proof a text format because I review so many Launchpads. But basically, you need to stake to get into a tier. Based on the tier, you get lottery tickets, and then you need to put your DAO power, as far as I remember, to basically commit to the IDO and get your allocation. But it seems they have changed some things. So, okay, a few days before any new show, detailed guidelines are released on the official blog and the Telegram group. Create an account and pass KYC. Purchase the DAO token, stake minimum of 2,000, register. Okay, so in that case, they, I think, remove the DAO power, which would be great. In my opinion. All right. Okay, so yeah, they don't explain actually how to participate in that IDO. So they just launched the venture yield, and maybe that's their new system replacing the actual, it's called staking 2.0 and rewards. So maybe they removed the DAO power, which would be making sense in my opinion. Venture yield, user given bonus for longer staking periods. Yeah, so in that case, when we look actually at the support documentation, which we just did, you have a public offering and a shoe. The public offering allows any KYC with more than worth of tokens to participate in coin offerings. Public offerings can be compared to freemium access. By staking DAO, users can unlock that have, okay. Large user staking DAO can also join public shoes. Their staked DAO counts as assets. The main difference between the two, the winning chance of DAO shoe are higher, fewer participants, and a different fee structure. All right, that makes sense. But they're also not referring to the DAO power anymore. So I think the main thing is how can you participate? You just need to hold the tokens, right? The tiers. What are the requirements? So these are the tiers. So the highest tier is 50,000, which would basically be $4 each. So that would basically be $200,000, which is basically the average that we see on these Launchpads in order to participate. Then you get the highest amount of lottery tickets with your highest amount of gains, right? So that would be 200,000, 1, 2, 3, 4, and let's say you stake that for 180 days. Your estimated chance of winning at least some allocation is 150%, which means you always get some allocation. 30 days, one day, your estimated chances are guaranteed. So you get so many lottery tickets. So even you always get allocation. Oh wait, this is the amount of DAO tokens. So probably we would have in that case, well, 50,000 tokens at 4. Yeah. So let's say we're in a lower tier. We're in like the 25K tier. 25. So then you already have 70% of winning. Probably we want to win guaranteed, right? So 45,000, 55,000. Okay, so basically as soon as you hit 50,000, it's 149%. If you have 49, not. See, that's the difference. So basically it goes per tier. Yeah, you see the tier change. So basically for guaranteed allocation, you want to be in tier 5. Tier 4, you're still playing the lottery with extremely high odds. So that's DAOmaker. Definitely has an extremely good track record. On to Redkite. So I have actually joined Redkite myself. I'm not in it anymore because also obviously it's called Polka Foundry. Polka Foundry. Here we go, PKF. And then it takes you to their Launchpad somewhere here, which is called Redkite Polka Foundry. See, redkite.polkafoundry.com. The token PKF sitting at about $1.14. Went to an all-time high of 250 on launch, all-time low at about 16, 13, 12 cents. Then again, obviously this November-December period, $2, really high, and then basically declined with the Bitcoin crash about $1. I fortunately exited at I think about $2, but the Ethereum fees basically took up all my profits because I was in the lowest tier. They also changed the pools a little bit, but it's nice that they have the staking pools here. So if you want to stake the token, you can get 5% APR and you get IDO access, no lockup term, 8-day withdrawal delay, 3 months with IDO, 15%, 90 days lockup, no IDOs, you get APR of 30 days with a 180-day lockup term. So that's quite long, no withdrawal time thereafter. But the APR 30% is decent. This obviously is a joke, 5%, but it is what it is. They do have usually quite some projects. So we're looking at 54 projects with an average return of 1,025%, which brings it on the top 3 most profitable launchpads to number 4, actually outside of the top 3. When we finish the entire list, we can basically see which one would be in the actual top 3, being the ratio between profitability and accessibility. Right? So 5 steps to join. Stake, complete your KYC, apply to the whitelist, swap your tokens, claim your tokens, right? They have these projects coming up. They obviously have a community sale with the raise is really small. This is basically the whitelist that they do for their community. It's people on Telegram you can join. And this is basically the real launch. Total raise 148K, claim on Redkite. They have the tokens, all the token information, what you want to know, and the relevant links, right? The requirement DAV admin tier. If you go to the actual staking, you can basically see, oh, well, it's not available here. Let me see where I can find it. Probably here, when we open up the document, yes. So there are different sets. So you always have basically phase 1 for guaranteed allocation, and phase 2 is first come, first serve, or if there are tokens left. That's the IDO pool, and the community pool is always first come, first serve. Your tier is very important, depending on how much you stake. Here you go. You have where you start. The DAV tier is the first one. So if you look at the actual public launch here, it says DAV at minimum tier, right? So you need to stake at least 500 Polka Foundry, which is extremely affordable, which is only $500, right? Then it goes up quite quickly, $5,000, $40,000, $80,000, right? In that case, you still need to apply for the whitelist, and there's no guaranteed allocation. So maybe on this one there might be some guaranteed allocation, but at least the lower ones do give you lottery tickets, and those lottery tickets are, here we go. So minimum amount staked, minimum staking time required, social interaction required, yes, guaranteed allocation. So from Eagle and Phoenix you have guaranteed allocation. These 2 are lottery pools. You get exclusive pools here. You get NFTs airdropped and token airdrops occasionally, and you have a private prosperity group. It does require 80,000 tokens, right, which is quite a bit of money. However, you do have the biggest weight there, and you have your guaranteed allocation. Looking at a platform with an average of 1,000% ROI, that definitely might be interesting in the long term. Right, so Redkite is actually quite simple. That is the allocation, and makes it extremely accessible. But again, 40,000 required for guaranteed allocation, more on the lottery side. So you can definitely see from Oxible Tech, Gamify, DAOmaker, Redkite, it's either quite expensive to get guaranteed allocation, or there is lottery where the accessibility comes. And with lottery, the choice is quite simple. If you do not have the money to get guaranteed allocation, then you got to settle for the lottery. If you win the lottery 1 out of 4 times, you get $100, $200 allocation, and it does 1,000x, right, or 1,000%, which is basically 10x, then you should be extremely happy, because then within like 3 to 6 months, you can get guaranteed allocation if you play your cards right. That's just what I'm seeing. Then we're heading over to CD5, 970%, basically 9.7x on average at the current average ROI, bringing CD5 on place number 5 in our top 5 most profitable launchpads. CD5 is actually quite simple because I've covered it so many times. I know it by heart because I'm actually staking CD5 myself. They do have a staking requirement. So if you go to the staking here, I have very little staked currently. I'm just staking it for the APY while I wait for more allocation. But basically you have 7 days with 5%, 14 days with 11%, 30 days with 25%, 60 days with 55%, 90 days with 75%. This is not APR, it's APY paid out in S Fund. Then you have farm, right? APY 176%, cake, pancake swap pool, and then you have pools that are already closed. Well, the CD5 tier is actually quite simple. The first tier is actually lottery as well. It only requires you quite little, gives you pool weight, where you hold 250 S Fund. The problem is that the S Fund token is quite expensive. I think it's hovering around $8 right now. CD5 Fund, S Fund, yeah, $7.86. And when we look at the actual run, it was 50 cents once, long time ago. Well, it's just under a year ago even, not even that long ago. Did have a great run up towards to $16 at the all-time high during the gaming bull run. This is the November, end of November, early December period. Sitting at about 5 million daily volume, 181 market cap million, and 784 million fully diluted. KuCoin, Gate.io, Maxi, PancakeSwap, biggest volume on PancakeSwap and KuCoin currently. When we look at the actual tiers, 250 S Fund, we're already looking at quite some money. This is just under probably, what are we looking at? 250. This is lottery as well, right? So don't get me wrong, it's about $2,000. To get lottery allocation with a very small pool weight of 1.2. Your first guaranteed allocation comes at 1,000 S Fund, which is already $8,000, making the platform one of the least accessibles. I do have an indication on your allocation. So if the average project, let's say, raises $150,000 to $250,000, your allocation on tier 2 might only be $12, right? Between $7 and $20, I would say, on the first tier 2 with about $8,000 stake. That's quite little. However, if the projects do 1,000% ROI consistently, obviously that could have some potential rewards in the future. Then it basically goes all the way up in guaranteed allocation to their biggest tier 9 of 100,000 S Fund, which basically comes down to $800,000. At this point, it was about 1.6 million, right? $780,000 for the heaviest pool weight. They have 325 times the allocation, or at least the pool weight, not the allocation, excuse me, the pool weight, which means that probably at this point, you're getting about $3,000-ish per IDO, which obviously with this type of return, right, where literally a 1000x, there is definitely a big opportunity because this is guaranteed allocation as well, which obviously could potentially bring you exponential results. However, is it accessible? Not that much. So when we go back and we look at the simplicity of things, right, at the data we have currently present, Oxible Tech, Gamify, DAOmaker, Redkite, CD5, 5 launchpads, and we're looking for the top 3 most profitable. Top 3 most profitable, it's clear. CryptoRank did the work for us. Oxible Tech, Gamify, DAOmaker. Now let's say you have little money. What is most accessible? I would say Gamify, because it's lottery, Red Kite, because it's lottery, and you do get some decent allocations there if you do win, and then probably the Oxible Tech first come first serve community pool, right? So those three, Oxible Tech being the 1 out of 1 on most profitable, but also gives you good allocation on lottery, Gamify, Red Kite, for people who have little money to invest. And when I say little money, it's probably less than $10,000 in my opinion. If we're looking at big spenders, right? If I would give my personal preference based on the track record of what I've seen today, the setups, right? I would probably pick, if I would be to pick right now, Gamify on 1, CD5 on 2, but I would go for guaranteed maximum allocation, and then a possible either DAOmaker or Oxible Tech, not Red Kite because it's on the Ethereum blockchain. I don't really like the lockup period, and they run a lot of small projects. Small projects doesn't matter in terms of ROI because the ROI is still there, right? And they have quite short vesting periods, which is nice. However, I have already experienced this and I didn't like it that much. Obviously, on the overall scope of things, my top 3 would be Gamify 1, CD5 2, probably Oxible Tech or DAOmaker on 3. So it really depends on what you're looking at. Taking into consideration for this video, we have only the data of 526 total IDOs, right? Not all the Launchpads are here, not everything is being tracked. Do take that into consideration, little disclaimer. My personal opinion is obviously not facts, it's just what I think is good for my situation. You would have to decide what is important for your situation, taking into consideration the all-time highs, the vesting, the current ROI, the accessibility of these platforms in terms of KYC, the allocation limits, the allocation requirements, the staking periods, the APY on that staking. This is definitely not an easy job to analyze. I'll be making more videos in the future, hopefully as detailed as this one, covering more profitability on Launchpads and specific IDO projects. So if you're interested in that, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. But this was basically my top 3 most profitable Launchpads according to the data present. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.